guys and fellow travelers on spaceship Earth. It is I trying to figure out how to make this all work because I'm not sure I have a solid. I don't. Do I? I do, sort of. Again, I'm kind of like picking up a lot of chatter on my mixer. Hang on real quick while I fix this. There we go. Well, thank you. Hi, Misting. How are you doing today? Can't draw with headphones on, though. All right. Can you hear me okay, though? That's the question. I've been messing with the mixer, trying to fix things. And I feel like my mixer just went weird on me. I'm not sure. So the question is, still working. Doing okay. Kind of trying to get all of these things audio solid. Okay. Then I won't worry about my audio is what I won't do. Do need to get the microphone out of the way a little bit. I am working on a number of weird little strange things going on here. So, clearing this out to there. And we're going to do that. And I'm trying to figure out what I have done wrong. Good old. Because I'm creating new pages and they're coming out wrong. Wrong means that this should be the page. It's not. Instead, it needs to work. All these pages way too small. Made the entire page. Starting with all the way on that side. All of this. Here. And it's not here, and I'm not sure why. Center. It's not even the same. Now my audio is garbled. It's because I'm trying to do things at the same time. I think that's messed up stuff. Am I still garbly though? Here, I'll kill this audio program. Am I still good or am I having... oh, I've got internet problems. Looks like I'm having signal problems. Okay, again. Good. Yeah, it might also be that I'm just loading up the system really good. So every time I start redoing things, it has a hard time because my PC is a little overloaded right now. Here, I'll kill this too. Fork. That should kill that. And part of it is I'm just asking for a lot of things to be happening at the same time. And that's part of our problem. Oh, it's dropped all the way down to 16 degrees out there. Heck. Might as well open the big glass door. Let some cool air in. Not just cool air, but wet cool air. I have a pretty hot machine over there. Right? 16, totally open window weather. Let's open the windows. wind's blowing a little bit. We've had these days that are rolling around in the 30s. I'm getting over the 30s in a big hurry. Don't care for those 30s at all. Okay, so I'm going to try to, once again, delete this. It's what I keep doing, deleting it and starting over. Maybe what I'll try to do at this point is bring up, instead of this, bring this up here. And then say, Studio Paint. King gutters, yes. Yeah, 30C. It's been 35 sometimes. It's been getting as high as 35. It's been hanging out at somewhere between 30 and 35 for most of the summer, which is brutal and unpleasant. It makes me mad. This house, here in Denver, we are very dry. So we can use evaporative coolers to cool the place down, and that's great. It's not as bad as having to use an air conditioning unit. The problem is that it's been getting so hot that even the evaporative coolers have been having a hard time keeping the weather down. So I have an actual AC unit right here. That's all right. We usually use, the only reason I use Celsius on here is A, I spent enough time in Japan to actually know what Celsius is. And B, a lot of people coming in here are from somewhere other than the US. And so I usually use Celsius as the standard, but if it's just you and me, we can switch to Fahrenheit. It's been hanging out in the 90s, the upper 90s. It's been pushing 100, 101, 102 through most of the summer. And so, and for a place like Colorado, that's kind of brutal. And so tonight it's actually hanging out in the upper 60s, which is really nice. It's open the windows weather and totally doing that. There you go. See, if it's just you and me, we can do that. We can talk in Fahrenheit. But truthfully only, yeah, right? That's too hot. And like I said, the nice thing about Colorado is we've got almost no water in our air. There's almost no humidity. And so using evaporative coolers works really well. The things where it just runs water through a mat and then evaporates it, and the evaporation then causes the temperature to drop. And so as it's evaporating, all that water, temperature drops and we get a cooling effect, which is great. It works perfectly, except when it starts to be like 101. Then it's like, really? I hate people. So now it's really lovely and nice outside and not 101. Okay, so we've got to fix the settings here. Something's not right on these settings. So I'm going to go here. New imager. I had the settings correct. This is part of my concern. Every time I start a new comic, I think I have all the settings perfect, and then I don't. And then something goes really awry. Like this, where it made obviously pages that were like this big. That's not the right thing for a comic. It's to set up all the pages. Really, having a problem to do that, it has to be consistent with all of my comics. really frustrating. Well, it is, except that all my comics look different. Like, they're all slightly different, and they shouldn't be slightly different. All my comics should be the same, at least from the outside, right? So, let's take a look what we got going here. Yeah, 'cause see, that's totally different. So 174.6316510. This is correct. The paper comic settings are completely different. Comic settings should be 168.3. Yeah, 7. Remember, 1, 208, 4. Then we have to go back up here. We go 1, 2, 4, 3. Zero. Back to the right? And he's right there. Check for the fanzine. We only want 20 pages. No gaps, no safety margins. All are down. Back. See you in a minute. See if that looks right. This looks correct. That's what we do this. Ah, right. Now we're putting it together. Are we? We're still not. This needs to go all the way. Ugh, I swear, this is like impossible to get anything to work the way it's supposed to. All right. Because we did these all screwed up. That's the problem. All right, now I understand. No comic settings. That's part of the problem right there. All right, okay, we figured this out. Here's what we're going to do. Let's say project settings need to look like this now. Okay, so we'll hit cancel. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter what we think this should look like. It should be like this, and it's going to set like this. And hopefully it'll be okay. That's all right. You can have a call. All right. Now I'm going to set these as my settings. Let's try this. All right. We got this. So the key here is to turn off those comic settings, right? Because they're set up here, but they really shouldn't be. And that's part of our problem is it needs to be because we're using the template. So what needs to happen is I need to load that template and just have it run the template and stop asking questions. Don't ask questions. Just run the stupid template. Okay. Turn off that, run just the template by itself. That should be what we're after here. Because that leaves me a completely blank page with nothing on the outside. Turn those off completely. And that should give me the correct everything in theory. You know what? Before I do this, though, I will go ahead and just take a snapshot of this. And then hit OK and see what happens. That's much more like it. Because this goes now all the way to the edge, and I've noticed that the panels match roughly where the blue line is on that. This is what it needs to look like. Perfect. So that setting is the correct settings. With that one and paste it in here. These are the right settings. And the answer to this is don't click this. Because that's what I did wrong last time. I clicked that thing. I don't want to set that. We're all good. Remember this and this so that I'll remember those things. And then I will take this and go like this and set it just like this. Because at one point, Jackson said something to the any proportion of 1080 by 1670. So I'm saving that as well so that I know, right? No touchy. Don't touch that. Do not touch it. No, bad you. All right, save. Okay, because now this is correct. And it looks just like this. All I need is the settings to be the same. That's it. So when we deal with things like we're dealing with this comic here, we want to have it come up and print correctly so that the proportions are the same size. One of the biggest problems we were having before was that when we sent this off to the printer, one of my books printed shorter to the top and the bottom than the other ones. So it looked weird. Everything was out of place. And it's all because there's way too many options, really, for everything here. Just way too many options. So this is issue 2. This is a special omake, which is a special issue. So well, no wonder you acted funny. I like this pen best. So now what we're going to do is, I had an idea for a short story. I'm still waiting for my editors to get back here. That's not the right one. Delete the entire layer. Yes, you can delete the entire layer. It's fine. The ghost of playgrounds past outside. A couple of years ago, we were on stream like this, and I kept hearing this noise out there somewhere, and it would be like, and it was like this really creepy noise that made all the hair stand up on the back of my neck, and I didn't know what it was, and it kept happening at regular intervals. And I finally went out onto the patio and looked, and it was the sprinklers that are out there, and they go around in circles, and every so often they hit the slide of the playground, and it just goes up the slide of the playground. But since there's no one out there and it's pitch black outside, you just hear this noise. Every so often, it's like it just made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. It was horrible. Very funny, but very horrible. Yeah, right? But it did completely freak me out too. It was very funny. Mhm. Oh, so you figured it out. Well, that's nice of you. Alrighty. So now what we're doing here is I'm just going through here and I'm adjusting. Oh, that's cute. Let's never do that again. I'm adjusting these I can take this all the way off the page like that, and then they just vanish. Once they're off the page, it doesn't really matter anymore. Hey there, Brent. So far so good, I guess. How about yourself? We got a normal day tomorrow. All is good tomorrow. I mean, it's a ton of work, but I got normal work tomorrow. No, not yet. I mean, it's not Monday. No, they're not recruiting yet. So we have to wait until they start recruiting. And that may be a while. So we'll see how things go. Hey, Tormund. Did you just change the color of the balloon for a reason? Like, besides being dumb? That was weird. I guess blue is better, but I don't know if that was where I was headed for. But okay. Hey there. Good to see you, Peugeot. The spacecraft will immediately initialize an in-space transition, accelerating steadily. When your brain synapses start to misfire, you'll naturally let go of the handle and we'll get a reading on your tolerance. I just love the idea that they just keep writing until your brain stops firing properly. Peugeot, I don't do requests very often. It's very rare. I have lots of work to do. So I know you're waiting for a request, but I'm not going to go any faster because I'm being pestered. Just so you know. I know that's your plan, but my primary job is actually to do this comic. And so I've got to do the comic first. Well, actually, just kind of keep doing the comics anyway. One thing we could do if you really wanted, you could commission. But that would mean that you have to pay me. I'm always open to being paid money if you want to be commissioned. Although I think I'd feel a little weird though doing somebody else's, specifically another web artist's artwork. That seems like that might not be a good idea. Maybe that's not so good. And I have Springs to finish. Silver Pentacle 3. School going on. Kiddo starts school in a week or two. You're not wrong. It is true. Mine's still got a day or two, I think, left because my sister is coming in this week. She'll be here on Wednesday. All right. See you later. Good night, Brent. I may give up here in a minute or two. I'm not being terribly productive here. I mean, I'm being productive. We'll have to see. We'll have to see where I end up with. But I might go to bed early because it might be fun to go to bed early. For once, I've worked all frickin' weekend. It might be nice to just get stuff done. So. Touch the onion skin. There we go. Crackle, 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 shoom. That's good. I'm at that point now where I know I need to move to the next section of this story, and I don't know what the next section of the story is. So that's why I'm like, I had a feeling I kind of petered to a stop here. Because I'm not sure what this next piece is, which is fine. I'm sort of freewheeling this anyway. Because realistically, at this point, I kind of want to think about what's the next piece. Well, this is... So, I have mentioned this a couple of times before, but probably you don't know this, or maybe you do know this. But if you don't know this, then I will tell you the story. But I originally... I'm going to bring in the other half here. Originally, this was a Star Trek comic I was doing at the time. And it was a Star Trek comic that I had been doing off and on for a very long time, and it was some 300 pages along, and yada, 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 yada. And somewhere along the line, my dad and I had a talk about this, and he was like, you can't sell this comic because it's a Star Trek comic. And so I said, yeah, it's a good point. And so I decided to redress it and just change the uniforms, change the ships, yada, 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 and call it a day. And it just so happened that we happened to be hitting this weird thing called COVID. And I was like, well, this is great. I'll just world build for the duration of COVID, because it's not going to be, what, a month, maybe 2 months. So I should be able to spend some quality time on world building, just enough to kind of redress it so that my comic was my own creation and my own story. Once it is, then I can, I can go on ahead and start my own comic. And so I did, and of course COVID lasted frickin' forever. Right? COVID lasted forever, and so during the duration of that time, my world building, because I was streaming, because I might as well stream. I've been sitting here streaming, and so we started streaming just before COVID started, and we're still streaming. Here we are. And so we got to the end of COVID, or not the end of COVID, but where we finally just said, you know what, that's enough world building. Let's get going. And so I committed to creating Bellatrix Rising. It is the same exact stories that were there for the original Tamerlane comic. It's just that the Tamerlane comic has some very specifically Star Trek things in it in a couple of places. So I have to I have to redesign it and reorganize it and stuff like that. So, there we go. I'm looking into my Tamerlane folder. I have an insanely, stupidly dumb Tamerlane folder, because it's all just messed up. Right, so that's interesting. So anyway, what had gone on was building Tamerlane. I built the whole thing, or built this new world on it. Well, there's these old episodes in there, which I had written, and I really want to bring through to the Bellatrix Rising side. Man, this is such a mess. I'm looking in the old Tamerlane folder, and it's just a mess. So I had done, this guy was the original. There we go. That took some effort, but I got there. So I'll be here. Yeah, I'm back. Good. So this is actually the comic that I had written a while back with my illustrious Captain Chang, well, which is at this time Captain Cochrane. She'd gotten herself in trouble, and all was good, and everything happened. And we were dealing with a ship that this was the ship originally, and stuff like that. And this is old, this is from 2006. Um, so I had done that, and then I did this. This is the last night of the year. Last Night of the Year was a story by which we met Cochrane's daughter, and we went through the whole thing. We talked about Cochrane's daughter, and we found out that Cochrane's daughter is a half Vulcan, and because of that, she was having problems with her. She had a well, thank you. She had a disease known as sand blood syndrome, which is what happens when a human and a Vulcan have a child. So we went through this whole thing where ultimately the child dies, but before the child dies, the father does a Vulcan mind meld on our hero or heroine, and she gets to meet her daughter later on down the road. Except that her daughter is fully grown and everything like that, except that really it was just to say goodbye, and then the child dies. So this is a great story. I really love this. This was a great perspective on the character. And so I wanted to keep this story. Well, it doesn't fit if you don't have a half Vulcan, half human. And frankly, in thank you. And in Bellatrix Rising, my aliens are so alien they're not compatible at all. You can't have. No, it's all right. I'm rewriting it, so you get to read it again. Um, but you know my aliens in Bellatrix Rising. The problem that I've got is I don't have any Vulcans in Bellatrix Rising. There are no compatible aliens. The humans can only have children with other humans because all the other aliens are so radically different that they're not even. I mean, the Shakrana don't even have the same kind of DNA, and you can't even try to mix those two together. And the Jessene they live in super high pressures, and they look like jellyfish. So it's like kind of like you can't really. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get around and get to the same story. I know that Chang lost her daughter, and that's the same thing. We just have to figure out how. And I haven't thought that one through, which is why I'm sitting here kind of going, what am I doing today? Who are you people? And that's why I'm kind of stopped for a minute here. I'm trying to figure this stuff out and thinking through. Wow. The Lark and the Nightingale. Oh, hey. This one's solid. This is the latest version of Tamerlane. Yeah, I mean, I think really what will probably happen is that she just has some kind of defect. The important part of the story was that it was the fact that Cochrane's daughter had human blood, but was Vulcan with Vulcan organs, and the human blood didn't mix. If you go the other direction, like Spock did, which was Vulcan blood with Vulcan organs, then it's not as bad. But the other way, which was what happened with Cochrane's daughter, wasn't compatible and her organs ultimately failed. So part of it was the guilt that Cochrane felt because it was her blood effectively that killed her daughter, so to speak. Um, so it was kind of a different thing. So I just got to come up with a disease of some sort that ends up having to be because of oh, wait a minute. Kang is genetically modified. That's probably what it is. Has something to do with her genetic modifications. Huh. There's a thought. So yeah, I actually did pretty good on this one. Kind of liked this particular story. This is the latest version of it. I was doing these in 2016, so my art was getting much better at this point. Wasn't quite as bad. So, mm. Yeah, still going through. At one point in time, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do the pages like this, where they're kind of in a layout that's more oriented like a comic strip. And I was trying that one out as an experiment. So it kind of worked. So this is where she tells her security officer, it could be mobile friendly, but only, yeah. This was kind of before I was trying to figure out whether I was going mobile friendly or not. Cochrane's like, I'm going down alone. And Bennett is still Bennett. In the current comic, this character hasn't changed much at all. She's exactly the same. Aha, you got me. I totally thought you said you were going down to the super hostile post apocalyptic planet unarmed and all by yourself. Haha, good one. And Cochrane says, we have a science base down there, Angie. They've been there for 6 months. Angie says, yeah, scientists. You know what scientists use for weapons? Tricorders. They throw them like baseballs. Baseballs that make woo-woo noises. Not scary at all. Which, that's what she does. She goes in these like mini rants that are really twisted. She has the clearest voice in my head. So I've been kind of glad that she hasn't changed any coming over into the new story. So, yep. Interesting. Lots of things. Anyway, in total, there is some 300 and something pages of Tamerlane. So the question really is, can I figure out how to make it work to transfer all of these back over? That's something I'm kind of working on. Ooh, noises. It's like Bennett has a complete disregard for people who try to do things any other way than to shoot. He just has a blatant disregard for it. She always has. You know what they use to defend themselves? Tricorders. They throw them. It's awesome. That's her genetic modifications. Okay, so let's bring this page back up. I bet you what I could do is just right. And by the way, gene splicing, you are absolutely right. That's what it turned out to be. So thank you for the suggestion. All right. Okay, time to go home. See you in a bit. There we go. Oh, I'm at a completely different resolution altogether. Maybe it has text. Maybe I can just copy the text. Nope. Is it flattened? Yeah, it's not. I can't steal the text. Dang it. I wanted to thieve the text. I'm not seeing the actual original text files, which is remarkably aggravating. Mostly because I don't want to retype the whole thing. That seems silly, especially if I've got the actual copies. Fire off Photoshop. I'm so desperate to not retype all of this that I'm willing to fire off Photoshop. That's not even a proper control of this. Hey, Tuan, how you doing? I'm only running for about 1 more minute, guys. Oh, we can do that. All right. Now, where we are in this position is quite a ways in. All right. Well, I think I've run out of things to do. It is now midnight here. I'll be back online tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. If you are interested in joining me, which you could be, yeah, here are sort of the time zones that we run. Plausibly, kind of close, sort of close. Anyway, so I'll see you all in the morning. And until then, thank you all for joining me, Tuan. and Misting and Vampire and Vampiric Lestat. It was good to see you guys here. We had Brent here for a little bit, and we had Peugeot here for just a second or two. And then Nightbot. Lots and lots of Nightbot. I don't know. It's just a thing. So, all right. It was great having you all with me today. I will see you tomorrow night. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.